Hi, my name's Paul Cresswell. Welcome to Paul's Tackle Reviews. The purpose of this YouTube channel is to give you some real life reviews of tackle that's been out on the bank and tested by an unsponsored and unbiased angler, which is me. As I say with all of my videos, just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you, but I'll give you all the information so that you can make your own mind up. Today I'm looking at how we balance pole tackle, so I'm looking at elastics, hooks and line. What do we mean by balanced tackle? Well, there'd be no point using a great big heavy 19 elastic with a tiny fine wire hook because the hook would just open. Likewise, you don't want to be using an 020 hook length on a number 5 elastic because you'd lose out in presentation and you could fish much more delicate and get more bites. So the three things today are elastics, and I've tried all elastics as they've come on the market over the years. I'm a marketing man's dream, and I've settled on hybrid elastic, so it has all the benefits in terms of stretch of hollow elastic, but it is still a solid elastic. It is cheaper, but I wouldn't use it just because it was cheaper. I think it's a better elastic, more durable, and it fishes better and powers up better. I've tried numerous brands. I've tried Nick Gilbert, Gorilla, I've tried ProGen, I've tried Zip, but I've settled on Dura Slip, made by Preston Innovations. Been out under a year now, and I use this in all different sizes, and I'll take you through that. I think it's the best performing one. I don't know whether that's because it's already pre-soaked in lubricant, but even though it's been pre-soaked in lubricant, I still advocate with all hybrids that you use lubricant each time you fish. So I get my top kit, a few squirts of that down the top kit before you put it together. This is the Preston lubricant, £4.49. Great stuff, works, will last forever. A lot of people using watered down hair conditioner. Use whatever you feel comfortable with, but with hybrid elastic you do need some lubricant. I'm then going to look at the hooks I use, and I've moved on to the Preston hooks over the last 18 months. I think they're a real step forward because they're Teflon coated or PTFE coated, and compared to the hooks I used before, which have been great and I'd used for years, I'd used Drennan hooks, that coating does make a difference. You get a sharper hook that stays sharper for longer, you get a better hook hold. Whatever brand you use, I would recommend you try Teflon coated hooks if you hadn't already. Matrix do them, Guru do them, there's others out there on the market. I use 3 styles of hook for fishing on the pole. We've got the SFL, which stands for Silverfish Light. That's my light hook. GPM, General Purpose Medium, and that's the hook I'll use an awful lot, especially tied to 012, 014 during the summer. And then for those larger fish or in the margins, I use XSH, Extra Strong Heavy hooks. So I use all 3 of those, and I'll show you how I balance that in the forthcoming part of the video. Lastly, line. I've tried lots of line over the years, and for a number of years I did use Ultima Power Match, which I thought was a great line until they stopped making it. I then swapped onto Power Micron by Matrix. I've used this probably 4 or 5 years, never let me down in a number of different sizes. Great ties, great hooks, really like the line. I do use some Drennan Suplex for 010 and 012 hook lengths. Not quite sure why. I think maybe availability. I tried the Suplex and I do really like it in the lighter strains, and I've landed some great big fish on really light elastic. So the next part of the video is going to take you through how they balance. There'll be a series of pictures and I'll talk over those. and hopefully you get some idea of how I piece it all together. So here we go, looking at the balance tackle, and the first elastic is the Dura Slip 5, which is 1.2 millimeters thick, and it's a pinky kind of colour, as you can see on the package there. What I've got on the left is the hook type, which is the SFL, and the discs represent the size of hook I would use. So in this case I'm looking at 16, 18 and 20s tied to 010 line, that's 2 pound suplex line, only using the SFL. I fish a silvers match a venue where there are some big carp as well, and inevitably you do hook these carp, and using this setup, using a 5 Dura Slip, 16 SFL to 010 line, I've landed fish to 8 pounds. So there's no need to go any stronger line than this, because you can land great big fish, but equally you wouldn't target those fish with this setup, but it does give you the insurance and the comfort to know that that's possible. So now we're stepping up to the next size, which is 1.4 millimeters, the Dura Slip 7. This is a blue elastic, slightly stronger than the 5, so you're looking at better silverfish here, or you can use this in winter for F1s if you're going delicate and you really want to go with fine lines. So I'd use again the 16, 18, 20 SFL with 010, but I might also use 012 on those hooks. And in the summer I can use this elastic maybe where you're catching a good weight of skimmers, but you want to make sure you don't bump them off, so you're using a soft elastic. And on those occasions you might be using an expander. I might use a 16 or an 18 GPM tied to 0.125 power micron. So the next step up is to the number 9 elastic. This has a diameter of 1.6 millimeters and is a red, pinky red kind of colour. This is good, a brilliant F1 elastic all round. So you're looking at slightly better fish, maybe better silvers as well. If I was maybe pace fishing for skimmers, I might well use this elastic. So I'd be quite happy using an SFL to 012 diameter line, but if you want to step it up a bit, you're looking at the GPM hooks. Might use a 14, 16, 18 to 012 line. You might be fishing a 6mm expander on a 14 or something like that. It just gives you a little bit extra strength. I've used this, and with a 16 I've landed carp to 8 pounds, so you can land good fish with this elastic. Yeah, it'll take a bit longer than if you had a stronger elastic, but if you're only expecting the odd big fish to turn up, this is a good compromise to ensure that you're not bumping the silvers. This still comes out on the hand size small skimmers. So we're now onto the 11 Dura Slip, again stepping up another notch in terms of power that's available. You'll see now that I wouldn't use an SFL hook. I almost exclusively use the GPM hooks here. So I'll be looking at 16 and 18s to 012 and 12, 14 and 16 to 014. I put a 12 in there because I think this is a good small, maybe skimmers and small carp paste kind of elastic as well. Gives you a good chance of getting everything out. It's a brilliant all-round elastic. If I was turning up to a commercial venue and I didn't really know what was going to happen, I'd probably start on that elastic, because you can land the big fish as well, but you're also getting some coming out on the smaller fish, so you're not bumping and losing those as well. a good 2+2 on a commercial, maybe where the carp are on the smaller side. And maybe if you've got a venue with F1s that are a little bit bigger, you want more control, then this is a good one to use. So now we're on to the 13, the white Dura Slip, and I know that Des Ship raves about this elastic. It is a brilliant carp elastic, and carp 2 to 5 pounds, and that's what you're expecting as your staple. This is the elastic to go to. I don't see any need to go lower than 0.14 when you're doing this. I think this has got some strength in this elastic. I've landed 12-pound fish with an 0.14 and a 16 GPM on Dura Slip 13. So you can get the very biggest fish out here. The 12 would be a paste, and if I was going for carp and fishing for paste, I would use the size 12 GPM, an excellent paste hook. The 14's great, maybe a big expander. The 16, you might be looking at the smaller expanders. Hard pellet, I'm happy to hook a band and then put a pellet on as well. I do use these in the eyed version, so I'd quite happily put a 16 GPM eyed with a bait band on to 0.14 line with this elastic, and that might be a great 2+2 kind of line. Now we're into the real beefy elastics, and the Dura Slip 15, a reddy, dark reddy kind of colour elastic. Again, I'd be happy using the GPMs to the 0.145. This elastic, I would say, is the closest to black hydro in terms of its rating, and that's something that I heard Des Ship say on one of his Q&A videos. So I always say that with black hydro and an 0.14 hook length, you can land double figure fish comfortably, so I would be happy using that. This would also make a good margin elastic, and if I was fishing the margins, I would be looking at the XSH in maybe a size 14 for a double corn or some worm or whatever you're going to use in the margins, and you'll get good control of bigger fish quicker. But also using the 15 means that you're not going to bump those smaller fish that might be in the margins on a good mixed fishery. So now we're into the real beefy elastics, the 17, and this is currently my favourite margin elastic where you're expecting some really good fish. I'd be looking at using lines of either 0.16 or 0.20 if you were really after some big fish. Hook size, I think you're going to be fishing big baits. It's either going to be a bunch of maggots, a couple of bits of corn or whatever. So I'm looking at 12s and 14 in the XSH. I don't really think there'd be any advantage to go into a GPM, even tied to 0.16, which you could do. I think these hooks provide you with the kind of strength that you need within the margins, and I've never had a problem using them in that way. So my final elastic, and there is a Dura Slip 19, but beyond 17 I think you're looking at something where you're facing very snaggy pegs and you want to apply pressure straight away, and in that respect you're going to be looking at a traditional solid elastic. This is the MIDI High-Vis 18 to 20 solid, so it's not a hybrid, it doesn't have the same level of stretch. This has been around for an awful long time and there's a lot of people using these. So I've got two top kits with this in. One of them has got it on a winder bung, so I'm not using a puller at all here in the base of the number 2 section, and it's got the 18 to 20 running through it, so I can adjust the tension as I see fit. And then I have another kit where the number 2 section is basically got power gum in, and then there's a number 1 section's worth of 18 to 20 elastic in the top. and that's for those places where you may be fishing right up to reeds or right up to a snag, and you want to ship back and apply the pressure straight away, and that helps bring the fish out by not having a lot of give. But once you get into the open water, then the elastic can work better with the fish. Like I say, you're only looking at 0.20 if you're going to be fishing this elastic in the margins or for very big fish. Hi, welcome back. I hope that was useful, giving you some idea of how to balance your tackle between your line, elastic and hooks. If you do have any questions or you want any comments, please leave them below the video. That's always welcome. I'm going to put up there, as I normally do, my list of most watched videos. I can't list all the videos I've done there, but these are the most watched. Some of these are over 3,000 views, and they're all available on my YouTube channel, so please go and have a look at some of those. Some great comments, and I thank everybody who's commented on those videos. I'm trying to do one of these a week during lockdown, so next week's video I'm looking at doing the Cadence CS10 reel. I've got them in both the 3000 and the 4000 size, so I'll take you through those. I've had some of those well over a couple of years and used those extensively. And then the week after that I'm going to look at the Guru Reaper front and back rod rests. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but I think I've found a product that's really good, and I'll tell you all about it so that you can decide whether that's the kind of thing you'd like as well. If you want to give me a thumbs up, that's great, helps spur me on in the videos. Until I'm back next time, thanks for watching. Tight lines.